Bitch Sesh News. There's some breaking news, what I believe to be incredibly important, fast-breaking news in our world. Matt McConkey just sent me an article, and it basically says the following. Now, all of this is alleged, not worried about that. I believe it all. The Jasmine brand exclusively reports that the Housewives franchise is going on the road. Apparently, Bravo is allegedly gearing up for a special limited series. Wait for it. Oh, my heart's beating fast. That will feature women from multiple Housewives cities. Sources tell us that 8 to 10 ladies will go on a trip and stay in a home together at a tropical location. It will allegedly air on NBC streaming platform Peacock. It's not clear who will be a part of it, but currently, apparently, they're scouting for all the cities. I mean, this is what we've asked for. This is what we've begged for. This is what we've dreamed about. All stars Housewives. Wow. Can't wait to get into this more. When we come back, we are off next week and back the following week. Hello, Danielle.
Casey, I'm out of breath.
I'm breathless and bothered here. Danielle, we were supposed to be off this week.
We were, and I'm literally at work right now. I've taken a leave of absence.
Mm-hmm. As you had to. If anything, I would want you to take a week leave of absence to process.
Process what has been bestowed upon us by the Bravo gods and by the ladies of one city, the best city in the world, the city of my youth, Atlanta, Georgia.
What is happening south of the Mason-Dixon on the Housewives right now is so explosive and so fun and so right. And I want every other, as Matt McConkey just texted me, every other fucking city to take a goddamn page. Kyle Richards, you will not be driving around in a funny looking car to Buca di Beppo, you little bitch.
No.
You better look at what these women are doing. I'm angry at the other women, actually. That's what the episode brought out.
How can we just go back to New Jersey where someone accuses another person's child of snorting cocaine? Not enough. Not
kick it
enough.
Know what you now need to bring us, okay?
Yeah.
And we're going to discuss it in depth.
I was going to say we pulled a guest.
Yes, and she was and quite frankly was supposed to be scheduled for next week, and we brought her here because again, Danielle, I was looking forward to a week off from this podcast, quite frankly.
Yeah, after our live show last week, we needed a week to regroup.
Danielle got into a sex swing in front of everyone on the live show, so wearing a Brooks Marks tracksuit. So at that point, you do want to take a second. I had to take a second from seeing it.
Yes, and I had
your crotch for that long. The same sex swing.
I had to go to a dry cleaner and bring that Brooks Marks sweatsuit.
I thought you meant bring the sex swing back to the dry cleaner.
Okay, both of them went off.
Okay. Well, we have a very special guest. And, oftentimes we'll bring in a guest of dignity. Not often, but a few times we have. And I will say this guest comes to us from the fashion world, and she and I have become Instagram friends, which makes me feel young and alive.
That's how young people make friends. They don't do it in IRL.
Oh, God,
they do it across the screens.
Okay. Well, I'd like you all to please welcome travel expert, fashion maven, host, writer, and she'll give us some more info. But she has an amazing website and in which it's called In a Perfect World. She does a curated intersection of fashion, travel, geopolitics, and socialization inspired by the global citizen lifestyle of the millennial.
Wow.
What?
What an intro.
What an intro. Please welcome Nneya Richards.
Thank you. I wish I was also a sexpert with that intro.
We're all sexperts now.
Today, I'd like us all to be sexperts today.
Well, I know a little bit about the Amsterdam sex worker codes because I went to a liberal arts college. So.
Wonderful. On the live show, we had a boots on the ground where someone saw Michael Darby in the Amsterdam red light district in the middle of the night, but today we are going to discuss an episode that I have gotten the most feedback from people, online, social media, but also from friends just saying like, have you seen this legendary episode? This iconic episode of television.
I've had to call up my friends that don't watch Atlanta. Like they might watch other cities. And like Akila Green, friend of the show, friend of ours. I was like, Akila, you need to get eyes on this episode. And
I've been begging people. My sister-in-law, I said, I'm telling you, stop what you're doing. It's unacceptable that you haven't watched it. And I said, if you haven't watched Atlanta, drop in and then drop out if that's what you want, because everyone's got their cities. You and I have always been so devoted to Atlanta, but like a lot of people watch their one city or their two cities, but it's like, this is the time. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if you haven't watched it, I ask you to pull over or stop what you're doing, watch it, and then return to us. Pull over.
I don't care. Move to the side of the road.
Yes. Now, should we jump in? I'm just going to quickly set the stage for how we began the framework, and then I want to turn it over to you, Nneya, for your thoughts immediately. But as Matt McConkey said, today we had to open with a new framework because the old framework no longer held us for what was about to happen. So today we see the acting method work of Kenya Moore.
Yes, doing a beautiful Sharon Stone, doing Sharon Stone justice, if I do say so myself.
Yes, they wrote her a script in which she is in a Basic Instinct white dress. And honestly, a new background. She looked amazing, right?
Gorgeous. She looked gorgeous. That's the thing about Kenya. Beautiful villain.
Yeah.
Beautiful villain.
Beautiful villain. That's a perfect way to describe her.
And I will say, once we get into it, like Kenya's all this talk of like, I've gained so much weight. I'm like, Kenya looks beautiful at any weight.
The beauty that I saw on my screen, the beautiful bodies, I was inspired by the beautiful bodies I saw.
I know. I wrote to some friends. I said, look, like this is such a body positive episode. It makes me feel sad for the way I'm like so harsh on myself. I'm like, these women are so fun and free and they're ready to live life and have fun in a way like, I feel like all our friends are like, I can have one drink and go home. It's like, fuck you. Live your life.
I feel like you're talking to me, Casey.
I am.
I never thought of myself as a bachelorette party person. Like I was like, okay, maybe one day I'll have a stripper. I don't know. But now after watching that, I was like, which is my candy friend? Who is the candy friend that I have to have throw me that kind of back? And like, now that we're in a pandemic, I'm like, can I have a bachelorette party like
and
this?
And the answer is yes. The answer we found out is yes.
Apparently, if everyone wears just a shield, including a man who joins us from a plastic cage named Bolo with the biggest ding dong anyone's ever seen in their lives, wearing fake Chanel straps, as Marlo wonderfully pointed out.
When Marlo pointed out the fake Chanel, not a fake dick, but fake Chanel.
He specializes in the half suits because I did go to his Instagram afterwards.
Thank you for doing the research.
What do you mean by, will you describe the half suit he was wearing in case anyone didn't see this?
Well, it's a hat. You know how you have a half suit? It's half of a suit and then straps on the side. It's like a cutout strap of a suit. So one side is business and one side is party.
I'll say. So just to set this up, for Cynthia's bachelorette party, the girls are in wherever the hell they are. Cynthia doesn't even know what state they're in, and they're there. And Candy breaks out her dungeon-like move. She gets a whip. All the women do it up with their outfits and kind of like tight corsets, just like sexy.
And everybody also just steps in line to Candy in a way. We've never seen everyone get along, listen, speak when spoken to, like that.
Play their role.
Like everyone stepped up in a way that everyone adapted immediately to this new state of being.
To the dungeon.
I was wondering because she said her team got the costumes for them. So I'd like to think of Don Juan picking out costumes for each person.
Rummaging.
Who's going to wear
They
what?
all look so good. And when they presented Cynthia with her costume as a surprise, and Candy then said, this is like, we're 3 minutes in, and Candy said to Shamia, please go deliver these vibrating panties. I will be controlling the remote. I thought we're in for something.
This is the line that Akilah quoted to me. She wrote me back, you can't vibrate Cynthia on national TV.
But apparently you can not only do that, you can hold up a big purple vibrator and tickle her, you know what, with it while she's in the sex swing. I mean, these are friends that are crossing new boundaries with each other that I so appreciate.
You saw that side of Candy, which I love because we've had glimpses of the dungeon tour. Mm-hmm. But not really as much Candy participating. And it made me just think about so much about Candy and Todd and what goes on in that home. Mama Joyce.
Yeah, Mama Joyce. I've never seen someone so comfortable in a role that we haven't seen that side of them. Like you're saying, seeing Candy with that whip and giving everyone their names, and they had to call her, what did they call her? Mistress?
Mistress, yes.
Mistress. Yes, mistress.
To see her take them over like that. Candy knows how to party. She's like, look, you little weak bitches, here's what we're actually going to do. And you will rise. Everyone had to play up to a new level with Candy. And I've never seen anything like this.
To watch Kenya writhing around on the floor beautifully, like on the ground as just tossing and turning, just twirling on the floor, using her twirl on the ground.
On the ground. She was unbelievable. And remember that Candy doesn't drink. That's also my favorite takeaway. Like, this is all Candy sober.
Forgot that.
It's magical. This
is just Candy. You're right. This is all bedroom Candy. And I will say, Candy's always hustling, because she did bring up the sexting part of her line, which I appreciated. She was like, I'm doing this, but I'm also selling.
Candy sold us a fantasy. These parties, these dungeon parties, believe you me, these dungeon bachelorette parties, this is the new thing. I'm telling you. She just did millions of dollars in business with that one show.
Absolutely.
Now, at my bachelorette, Danielle, you were there when June Diane Raphael did her kind of bad acting when she was like, there's an army man at the door. It was like really bad. And member of the armed forces here. And he came in, all of our friends, and I'm really turning on everyone, like clustered to the corner, kind of backed up, like, ah! Only Kulap came forward and let him like flip her upside down. And June tried to volunteer at 8 months pregnant. And he was like, June was like, please, I'll go. He's like, let's wait.
I hid under a couch like a little baby. And I'm ashamed.
Right. But to see these women, and I want to just say, let's talk about the cast for a second. At a certain point, when do you make everyone full cast members when they deliver you an episode like that? And I hope you're listening, Andy and everyone, like Shamia, Toya, Drew, Marlo. Where the fuck is their peach after this?
Marlo had an arc on this series.
Marlo doesn't want a peach. I think that has to be clear because she's put in so much work. I can't imagine Bravo denying her anymore. She must not want it.
She doesn't.
She gives us, why not? Why doesn't she want it? Being a regular cast member mean you have to show up at things maybe she doesn't want to go to? Is that what it? Because she gives us
so much.
So much. She was gorgeous. She gave us pathos at the end. Her and Kenya finally coming to a sit down that made me cry.
Yeah, I think Marlo's changed a lot since she adopted those two boys. I really think that we see humanity in her now. And before, she was a bit so hard to take. Mm-hmm. That I think they were like, she's a little too much. But when she pranced about in that outfit, I thought her body looked so amazing.
Gorgeous. All of
so
them.
So good. Everyone. Yeah.
Now you're in fashion.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, what did you think about who wore it best?
Who wore it best?
Who wore sex best?
Well, I was wondering about Portia's was considerably more revealing, I thought, than everyone else because we had to blur Portia's nipples. And I was like, if I was Portia, I would feel a little bit more naked. I love Kenya in red. She looks incredible in red. And I felt like it kind of was like a Beverly Hills thing about who was the fave and what outfits they got and what they got to cover up. But everyone looked incredible. Tanya, they all looked great. Marlo, that leopard print was just so Marlo.
I love that Marlo was the only one still wearing a mask though. Like everybody else was like, we've been tested, whatever. Marlo is the me of the group and that she's concerned. She's constantly talking about how let's all wash our hands. Let's not touch each other. That's me.
I'm sure they cut off hand sanitizer shots with her during
the whole time. I mean, to see a stripper like Bolo come out with a face shield on in the times of COVID, it made me laugh. Just the polarization of that, to see this man pulling his dick out. Was it out when he was in the plastic cage?
No, not in the plastic cage. In the plastic cage, it was as much as Bolo can tuck it away. I don't think a monster can just disappear into the ether. I think it's still with us, always with us. But I do believe that it didn't really come out to play until the cameras went away.
When the episode first aired, Bolo's page was private. So I had to request to follow him to see anything. I promptly unfollowed him because the next day I got a text from my friend that said, it looks like you follow Bolo. And I was like, oh, well, it was because his page was private. So I wanted to see, but there were no dancing photos. There were no dancing moves. I guess it's an OnlyFans thing.
Oh, you could find Bolo on OnlyFans.
He's mostly doing fashion shots. I don't want to see Bolo in fashion, like wearing a great pair of sweatpants and a hoodie. Who cares?
Right. You don't want to see him in your business. I want to see him in his business.
Exactly.
I feel like that's a fun bachelorette thing. If people do have to do it online right now, is to just get Bolo on your screen and get him going.
Candy and Don Juan, you guys, I hope you're making this business go online because it's
I'm sure Todd is already on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right.
He is a businessman. And Bolo can fill up a screen, if you know what I'm
He's
saying.
a star. Now, to see the shots of the women and their expressions when they came inside and Bolo was dancing, again with a shield on. And to see the quick shots, the cutaways of Portia when she kept sliding down lower in the chair.
She's a genius. Portia is the Lucille Ball of our time.
She's a full body actress.
So funny.
Yes. Well, I will quote from the Vulture recap this week. Chris Murphy writes, and I agree, and I hope we can all back him up in this and sign the petition that he's put online to replace Nicole Kidman playing Lucille Ball with Portia Williams.
No! Yes!
That would be incredible.
Because
Incredible.
she is so fucking funny. Her cutaways, her slinking to the floor with every inch we can assume we saw of Bolo, like in tandem with Bolo's revelation, inch by inch.
Incredible.
Was incredible commedia dell'arte. Like,
she is the girlfriend that you wish you had. Like Portia. You're like, oh, I wish I could just call up Portia because she makes you laugh. Oh, she's amazing. She's amazing.
She's amazing. And when Candy gave out those stacks of bills, thinking everyone's going to throw them, I had the biggest laugh of the night. When Cynthia, who we've always seen isn't like the most sexual, which I love about her because she's so beautiful, but she's like a little awkward whenever they have her do like the photo shoots or dance. Cynthia strides up first as the bachelorette and puts down awkwardly $4 dirty on an ottoman for Bolo. And then they cut to her in her testimonial and she goes, "What? I'm budget conscious. I made it drizzle." $4.
That was such a funny moment.
She sure is. I mean, Cynthia. Yeah, I mean, I think that Cynthia, it was the best bachelorette party for her. She seemed to really let loose and have fun. What did you guys think about Kenya and the next day? Like, there's always that person in a group. And I really can't stand that person.
Well, so they asked to turn the cameras off, which I was angry. At their production crew.
We got some things. We got like outside cameras. We got like a shot. Like it was very like Hitchcockian.
Like Blair Witch.
Yeah,
Blair Witch. Like we were getting Nest cams or like whatever. And to still see what was going on with Bolo through the blinds on the movement. What was that movement?
I was so confused because it was when he was with Drew. And every time they reenacted, I couldn't figure out what was that movement. If he flipped her around.
I felt like he had, if I may, Drew on all fours on the coffee table. And I don't think he was having sex with her, but I think he was simulating it. Like everything was, and I'm sorry to go here, right? Like everything was, I'm not talking about at 6 a.m, but everything was kind of, simulated, right?
But there was one part where it was like Portia, and this is before the 6 a.m, before Bolo. We get to see Bolo do his walk of shame or whatever at 7 a.m. Just seeing him leave with his like sweat bag, it was never easy. But just the way that they described that he had like 3 girls on top of each other, like piled hot. Like
yes,
like, what? I wanted a visual. I mean, we had to do it with our minds,
and with Tanya on top, like the bread, just like on top.
I'm so impressed by Tanya, guys. Can we talk about Tanya, the growth, the movement? Someone it's rare. It's rare. It happened with Tinsley for other reasons for me, but for me to dislike someone and just be like, they're not enough. They're too prude. Like I can't get into them. She's not for me. And then to come 180 and love her and know that she is the one most likely. We don't know for sure. The mystery has yet to be solved.
Allegedly,
Tanya is one of the ones
that had sex with Bolo in the morning.
Perhaps.
6 a.m. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Do you think it was Portia or Tanya or both?
I would say both. I would
Me
say
too.
both. And it's okay.
I am loving it. Whoever did that is my hero.
I think it's okay. I feel like Portia and Tanya, they're so close. They go on girls' trips to the Caribbean together. I think that it could be both of them, and that's okay. Or if it was
Yes.
like Portia and then Tanya, Portia with Bolo and Tanya with Portia. That way, Paul's not concerned.
Any which way.
Any
You're
which
right. Because
way.
I think we're obviously kind of playing with fire there with Paul. But I think any which way I love. And to answer your question, and I'm sorry, we're answering it later, but like about Kenya the next day, we both needed Kenya and I hated her. It's like, of course, we need to know what happened and we need her to play the role she plays. However, I really loved Marlo and Candy's take, which was just like, when Marlo's like, snitches get stitches, and Candy's like, a lady never tells of the dungeon. And I'm like, guys, whoever did this is a hero. You guys are so fun and game, and you're living your lives and having fun. Like, it almost shamed them a bit what Kenya was doing, which I didn't love.
And Candy, watching her after show bits, she's pretty upset at Kenya because Candy feels she's very sex positive. She created this safe space, and she's pretty upset with the Kenya shaming afterwards because she feels like it's her fault that but I don't think these women's names are getting dragged through the mud. Like,
No.
I don't think it's a backlash.
Oh God, when we want to get to the bottom of it, it's honestly to salute them.
Exactly.
For me, it's like, thank God we have these examples. I hold them up. I hold them up as examples of sex positivity, body positivity, fun positivity.
And as Portia said in the beginning of the night, which I think really set the tone for us, she said, and I quote, "Someone's eating me out tonight."
Yes.
I love that.
Like, it's about goal achieving. Like, she set that up and she was going to get it. It was going
She
to
put
happen.
it on her
It was like a
vision
vision board.
Right there.
The law of attraction.
Exactly.
You know, we've all been through so much this year in many ways. Portia's been through so much. I just felt like, what a way to celebrate life. I'm not like, it was so celebratory. I had so much fun watching it.
I had so much fun. I had like a smile on my face for the whole hour.
Yes, I laughed out loud so many times when Cynthia woke up and her bra was hanging off the TV. And then everyone said, oh my God, I can't remember who said, Kenya was like, there were some titties out and there was some bolo out.
But I think Kenya has to own it. She wanted Bolo to come back.
She was the one that set that up.
I think if Brooklyn wasn't there, we would have seen even more fun of Kenya.
I know Kenya did have some lines that made me die laughing, but were so crazy. As when in the morning when she was interrogating everyone, she goes, "Look, I just want to know whose pussy got murdered in these sheets." I mean, she's bringing us something. Okay?
She is, exactly. I think you said it right, Casey, when you said, I don't like I don't want her to be that person at the party, but we, the audience, need that person
We
at
need
the
it.
party.
And she knows that.
She gives us great TV.
Now, what do you make, Nneya, of Toya and Drew?
Toya, I watched a few of her YouTube videos to give a little bit of it was a hard watch. It was a hard watch to give her get a little bit of background on her. I loved how Drew handled the fan comment. Like, that was so perfect, so classy. But she also gave us a moment where she almost hit her. And I like that in my housewives as well. Like, I like a threat of violence.
Absolutely.
Beautifully said. True. That is the essence of a good housewife, which is humor and violence and held back violence.
Exactly. And then she's giving us the husband. So I was very scared for Drew with the Bolo situation because of how off her husband's chilling to me.
Yes,
Agreed.
You're so right. That's the perfect word for him. He's seething.
When he was serving the ladies the cocktails, and I was like, oof, this is not good. And
yeah, at any moment he's gonna like take the tray of cocktails and throw them against the wall. Like, some things I think, and Drew seemed the most. I mean, no one really seemed that like upset. Maybe Tanya a little bit because she's got to deal with going home to Paul, but Drew seemed a bit scared when the morning came out. And remember when Candy told her, like, oh, Kenya's trying to get to the bottom of this, the look on Drew's face, she's like, well, that's not right. That's not right. The cameras were off. I was like, oh.
Exactly.
And know that Drew didn't cross any like lines, but any even sniff of it with Ralph. I think
she crossed some lines.
No,
Danielle.
I do not. I think
Danielle.
But that could also happen at like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
You're right.
At medieval
You're right.
times.
At the like sex one. You're right.
Yeah. But I think he seems, I wouldn't want him to handle my move. He seems like he's the kind of person that would hide my box of clothes to get back at me. Like he seems he just seems so off.
That's a perfect thing. Hide a box of my clothes to get back at me. Yes. You've said it.
Yeah, I'm a little scared of his reaction, especially since it all came out last night. Like, where are we today? Because, we all have been there. You're saying one thing, but these things get played back. I loved the little snippet we got from the Nest Cam or the alarm system security footage of just, frankly, I loved it, of Portia and Toya making out. We just saw their heads.
Just a quick head.
We literally saw like the eyebrows and above. And if we were not told, like it was too grainy of footage. I just saw like eyebrows and a little bit of hair.
I love that because I also am team Portia and Portia versus Kenya. And I thought, yeah, take her girl. Take her girl with you.
And you know that I felt like Toya had a very nice night with Portia. I also think Portia is a generous lover.
Oh, she
just throwing that out there.
Didn't she say to Candy, and I think this came back in the episode where they were dancing one night, and this is before all the bad stuff happened between Tanya, and this was with Phaedra, when Phaedra was like, she's going to put you in a dungeon or whatever that craziness was. But she said to Candy, I want to lick you.
Yeah.
Like, I want to lick you up and down. Don't you remember that? Like
they were making out in the club, right? They were making out. So yeah.
Portia's a wild time.
Candy would only not go there with Portia because of the allegations.
Correct.
But I think, she had a great time with Portia, and maybe she did want to bring Portia back to a love nest, not a dungeon.
Yes.
Yes. And I did appreciate Candy just continuing to maintain like the safe space and the structure. Like I like when they're like, Candy was watching, but from afar. Candy like maintained her role. And it was like, she wasn't getting high on her own supply.
Yes, exactly. I felt safe with Candy. Candy was doing her job.
She's the kind of person that you would first want to try a drug like a shrooms with. She's that person that's making sure everyone's safe, everyone's consenting adults. She's great.
We are lucky to have Candy in our lives, like all of us, because she really is so smart, so trustworthy, so just
she's very loyal.
Yes. And she really wanted the girls to have a great time. Like you could tell like that was her goal, to have just this great party. And
like she put herself out on a fucking limb to do this on television and to show like this can be really fun, and like girlfriends can have their fun and it doesn't have to reflect on their, I thought it was very bold and brave that she did that. And she's so self-possessed in a beautiful way. And I've said, what is Candy bringing us? Because she's so normal.
Yeah, I've also felt that same way, that Candy, honestly, usually she bores me because she's just successful and normal and everyone's seemingly great. Ace is crying about cleaning, but then she brings us episodes like this.
Yes. Without Candy, this would not have come to fruition.
No.
I like when they were trying to piece everything together, and Cynthia, just her reactions of like what happened as she kept hearing more when she was asking someone, I don't even remember, about kind of exactly what happened. She's like, could you give us an approximation? Just a loose timeline.
We were getting a weird time. Like something happened between like 3 and 4. That's when things got like wild again. People were coming in and out. Like Kenya was coming in and out of the picture. Marlo, I think, even came in and out of the picture. But 3 and 4, there was like a wild time, but nothing, no penetration, nothing.
But now Cynthia admitted she sat there and watched for 20 minutes, which I love.
Just sat.
Getting turned on, just sat. And that I love when someone said, I think it was Drew, and they were like, yeah, this one and that one were with Bolo getting flipped and flopped. And then Shamia was just waiting in the wings.
Whose turn?
That would be me, you
Patiently
guys.
waiting.
That would be me, like on the outside of some foursome where I'm just like, whoo, got my ticket for the ride.
This was like Clue. It was literally an episode of Clue. Kenya was Tim Curry. And I also love Marlo when they cut to her reading her meditation book. And then when we see Toya, they're like, well, where were you, Toya, at 6 to 7 a.m.? She was like, I promise I was on Instagram. We cut to her Instagram video. She's exonerated. It was so good.
It was so good. She was, but then it's like that extra bedroom, which by the way, why wasn't Marlo in that extra bedroom?
Well, because Bolo was.
No, before when we had the room drama.
Was that bedroom not Marlo's dressing room?
No.
Because Marlo was in her dressing room.
Marlo was in her
Maybe this
dressing
bedroom
room.
was even smaller. Mobu was like sort of. I mean, it
Well,
really
see,
is
what
like Clue.
people are saying online is that room was Tanya's room, and that when you study the floor plan, as we did with Coyote Pass in the Sister Wives episode last week, we're studying a lot of floor plans right now. That was the producer saying this was Tanya.
Oh.
Now I don't know, and maybe I'm going to be wrong on this.
Because I was going to say it was a really smart move of these women and the producers to have a mystery room so that it's nobody's room, so anyone could have been in it.
I feel like that was what was on like Real World and Jersey Shore. They call it the Smash Room back in the day.
Right.
That was
and
in
it's
Real
like
World.
anyone could be in there.
Anyone could be in there. That's where you go. So with Portia and Bolo, what I wondered is how does it escalate? And then when it's someone that's stripping, do you then take the money from making it rain? Are you paying them afterwards? I was just wondering about the transaction part of it.
I had the exact same question. And in the morning, we saw some crumpled up dollar bills on the ground. And I was like, I don't know that Bolo went through and really collected what was owed to him.
Oh,
I did see a half-eaten piece of bread on the couch.
I was upsetting. I was like, what? So many mysteries. Was it like Cynthia just sitting there eating a piece of bread while she watched?
Yes. Snacks. It's late. She's drunk.
To carb up. I was wondering the same thing. I saw the dollar bills too, and I was like, oh, Bolo, you didn't get the lot. Like but I think that he was paid a lump sum beforehand. For sure. Like, I think he is a high end.
So you don't take, I would take the rain money.
But he also takes rain money. So that's just like tip. He has his fee, like his big fee, and then there's rain money.
Yes, Danielle. But when Portia approached him and was like, look, the ladies want to have fun, we'll turn, and he was like, are the cameras going to be off? I felt like that was like, now we've crossed over into like a night of fun with Bolo. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think that maybe
Bolo extended his hours.
Bolo extended his hours.
Yeah, because it seemed like they had to talk. Yeah, like you would with any, like even a wedding band. You would say, hey, can you play a few extra songs? We're still all here drinking.
Some real extra songs. Some songs that you don't break out for everyone.
Exactly. That's what I wonder, if it was like that. Does he get paid overtime for that? And then does the peach cobble go into that? Like, is Candy going to get a bill?
Or who gets, like, does Bravo get that bill? Like, who deals with like services rendered Bolo?
Or I would hope it's a reimbursement, because I would love to be in the accounting team for that reimbursement.
I would really love to know.
Right, it's made out to Kenya more. Although Kenya didn't even get them dinner, but I guess she did get them Bolo. So everything's water under the bridge to me.
She spent all the money on Bolo.
Honestly, I think this was one of the most watched episodes of Housewives of all time. And that's why we're here. We've come at you. It's late. Of course, it aired a while ago.
We had to get to it this week. Again, we were supposed to be off this week, but we ran here.
As Candy said, when some of the women decided to go on the boat that they thought was a yacht, but was really a fishing boat in the morning and didn't show up, Candy said, quote, they had to regroup.
We all had to regroup, though.
We all had to regroup.
We all did.
You're so right.
It was a lot. Like, I was so excited afterwards that I was exhausted by the end of the show from how high my adrenaline was going.
Well, the episode was also like an hour and a half long. Am I wrong?
I think it was. Yeah. It went
was
over.
Like a supersized
I felt
episode.
I felt no time.
Oh, not complaining. But at one point I was like, oh,
But I couldn't have
wow.
even told you. I didn't know it was longer because I fell through space and time.
Well, now let's please talk about the second portion of the episode. So you think, like Matt McConkey was saying, like all this happened at the midpoint and they've still got more to give us. So in the next morning, and God bless these women, I would not be then going on a fishing boat. And Marlo's wearing her heels and they keep explaining to the women, like, this isn't a yacht. We're going to go fishing in like the cold with like, life jackets.
I was impressed that Portia was like up early and like looking great. Like Portia didn't seem to have any hangover. Like she is incredible.
She drinks so much water. Like she's such a star.
Yeah, because Toya was like, oh, I had 10 drinks and then I stopped counting. And I'm like, but Toya's young.
Mm.
You know, some of these aunties, they're, so they go on this fishing boat. I truly screamed with laughter. So they're fishing. Marlo again gets out of her heels. And then Marlo catches a shark. A shark with a fishing pole.
It's so Atlanta. It's just so Atlanta.
And they're like, are we going to cook it and eat it tonight? And he's like, I'm going to let it go back into the water. But for Marlo to catch a shark, as Matt said, the ladies didn't jump a shark this week. They caught a shark.
They did. I mean, they kept giving us, and then they're all the other ladies, the aunties, are then gathered by the pool, gathering themselves, gathered by the pool.
And don't forget Marlo's flask that she was prepping the tequila,
they're all
rosé,
drinking.
Hennessy.
Hair of the dog the next morning. Like they're all.
How many flasks did Marlo pack? I'd be having trouble getting my hands on one in my house.
Yeah. She was ready. And she was also wearing camouflage. So it seemed like she kind of knew she was going on a fishing boat with a flask and camouflage, but then the heels.
Right. And I felt like they divided up in the right way. It's like for all of our friendships, for all of our, let's get a little space for the gals. It was like everyone that was together sexually, we split them up for a second. You go catch a shark. You sit by the pool with no food.
I love, though, that no one felt shame. Again, I think we spoke about this, but the only time they started to feel nervous and shame is because of Kenya, which I did not like because I loved how, because I'm just full of shame of everything and anything I do. I'm just a shame person. But they just woke up and they were like, all right, let's go fishing. Like nobody felt bad. It was so
because
great.
Much like the shark, Kenya was out for blood.
I love it. I think there was always that person in college in your 20s that the next day, oh, you were so crazy last night. I never could stand that person. Never could stand them. And Kenya was giving me that energy that wanted to rehash the night before at your expense.
Right. And it's like, sorry, did you not want us to have fun? I mean, isn't that why we were there? And if anything, Kenya engaged quite a bit herself. Like
judgy wudgy, as Dorit said.
Thank you.
Judgy wudgy.
Now, can we talk about the reconciliation that I thought, again, this episode had so many variables. Like the reconciliation between Kenya and Marlo was so beautiful. It made me cry because I felt both of them. I felt like they were both honest in a way that I have not seen. They were both plain spoken, like no one was trying to insult each other or just like they just came from such honesty and such just directness. I just looked at that as a way to solve a huge fight. Like, don't forget, Kenya Moore came to her hair care thing and started with a marching band.
Yeah.
Like, you can't come back from that.
I think it was interesting. I wasn't touched by it. I was
crying.
I wasn't either.
Like, I wasn't sure why Marlo had been pushing this. I understand Marlo's growth, but I don't see that growth in Kenya. And I was like, when they did the flashbacks to their relationship, there's not that much there.
You're correct. There isn't that much there. That I will say.
They're like, look at this friendship. They were like saying hi across the room.
Yeah. And like giggling at a joke. Like it was.
They were friends for 2 days. That
exactly.
I see. But the way that the truth of like where Marlo was like, look, I said terrible things. Like I was hurting. I wanted to hurt you. I said bad things. And Kenya the same. It's just like they both just, I like how they fessed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that, Danielle. I'm with you in the sense that I was glad they buried the hatchet if they really did. But I'm asking you guys genuinely. So we saw this flash of all the things Marlo has done to Kenya. She said, I get why your mom left you. She made fun of her baby. She made fun of Kenya being pregnant. Like, these are horrible things. And then Kenya was like, and I too apologize, Marlo, for giving you the bad room in this house. I'm like, are these
Exactly.
equal?
Exactly.
But was the room that bad? Did I not get my eyes on it enough?
I thought like she had her own bathroom. I didn't think it was that bad. And even but Latoya also said we should give Marlo the better room, the open room. So it was so weird. I didn't see it was terrible at all. But
right. But it's also like, this woman, you've been terrible to this person. Of course she's going to give you the bad room. Like, I don't know what she kind of expected and all that.
And Marlo was very hurt by it.
Marlo's at a softer place now. Marlo is more vulnerable now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think it's easier to hurt Marlo now. Like, she feels like a little more open to being hurt. And so I think that's why she was so hurt by it. So again, I'm not saying it's like tit for tat, but I do feel like something happened. It felt like a new day.
So I thought it did feel like a new day. But then when they came down and told the girlfriends, like, we're back together, like, we're friends, there was a little ripple through the air that I felt everyone was like, oh, now they have an alliance. This is bad. As much as everyone wants them to make up, I think there's something there of like Kenya realizing maybe I need to bring in someone else into my orbit or something.
Portia said it. Yeah, Portia said you're trying to grab the whole friend, the only friend.
Like, I don't know where I'm getting this from. It's just subtleties I pick up
from
on.
The sky.
Yeah. Portia said, like, now you have nobody likes you, so now you grab your only, because they're very dangerous.
Portia said what I was thinking, right?
She always does what we all think. She's the voice of America.
Now, just quickly before we touch for a second, if we can, on maybe on Salt Lake and Jersey, I do want to just, okay, why are the episodes ending? And it is my favorite thing I've ever seen. So it just says, across the screen, it says, to be continued. And under it, a gospel choir sings, take me to the higher ground.
I loved every second of that.
What?
That was beautiful. Because they're artists. Our editors and our producers are artists. And
Because
they're
then
giving
It
us
makes
artistry.
me laugh.
But our cliffhanger was Portia saying, I'm not in a prayer mood. That's the best cliffhanger. Like, okay.
Right. And they're like, cue the gospel choir, take me to the higher ground.
It's so good.
I
It was
loved it.
beautiful.
And actually, let's take one quick break. Well, we're back. Should we touch on Jersey episode 2?
Yes, we should.
The first thing I want to say about Jersey is this episode, it reminded me so much of you guys. Like, everyone says whenever people imitate Teresa, like, we're putting it on, but she was exactly the full-on comedy sketches of her. You saw like that same intonation, like everything. And you can't put on Teresa. It's so insane.
Right. Teresa was being Teresa when she was like, I will verbally assault and cut her with my tongue. And I'm not even doing her voice, just that line. Like,
I'm going to say something. There's no one dumber than Teresa Giudice.
Did you see him? Did you see him? Like, that flashback? It was right out of Hot Wives. Like, it was insane.
now, guys, can I ask you a genuine question? When Jackie yelled last week, about Gia, the explosive, which was such an amazing episode, we covered it in the live show, but it was unbelievable. Up there a little bit under, but with Bolo in terms of the explosive ending. So when Jackie yelled to Teresa, who had just told a whole party full of people her husband was cheating on her at his own birthday party, which is so insane. And then Teresa kept being like, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I didn't tell anybody. And so then when Jackie yells, it would be like if I told everyone Gia does coke in the bathroom. Did you guys think it was an analogy off the bat? I didn't get that
She didn't
the first episode.
say it like it was an analogy, or at least that's not the way it was edited. She was like, it was more like, okay, well, you're going to say that. I'm going to say this. I didn't think she really meant it. Like, I knew it wasn't real. I think she was like, there's no way to penetrate Teresa's skull. Like, there's
I thought it was real. I thought she was like, oh, there's these rumors going around and I'm going to say it.
Because after it, yeah, I think you're right. Afterwards, she said, as she continued, she goes, it would be ridiculous like that. But the first few sentences, I thought Gia was perhaps doing it in the bathroom. Like, it's not unheard of in the housewife history. So I didn't get it for a second until she said it would be ridiculous like that. So I kind of understood Teresa didn't get analogies, and I'd like to think of myself as a smart person. I didn't realize it was an analogy at first.
I didn't either. And
No.
do you think this is Jackie cleaning up her own kind of mistake, or is that how she intended it?
I think that's how she fancies herself as a writer, and she fancies herself.
As we know from her mommy blog. Or
Exactly.
like, what was that? It was like Jersey Moms.
Exactly.
Remember she had like a Jersey Mom blog or something?
Exactly.
Where she slammed Jennifer Aydin's mothering and then was like, I was just talking about your mothering.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like she meant it like that. She thinks that there's a voiceover going on with her all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. Although it's suspicious because once you do put a rumor out there, be it analogy or not, it's out there, and it is pretty rough to do that to a kid. I'm on Jackie's side overall, but it was rough.
Yeah, it was a low blow, but I think, and I would never have, and I do believe, like, do not fuck with the kids. Like, that is not a fair thing to do.
Only
It's
you
not
and I,
right.
Danielle, can fuck
I
with
can
those
fuck
kids.
with kids. No, nobody.
There's Gia's a good one. If it was like Brooks, I'm okay, but Gia's a good one.
But I love Gia. We don't deserve Gia. Teresa does not deserve Gia. Gia is a
Mature.
queen, a princess, mature. She held that family together with her fists.
Remember her
And she-
song, her
Oh,
crying song?
Never forget it. Never forget it.
Together. Come together.
That song.
Melania also did a song. What a musical family.
I don't want to grow up. Or what? No, I can't wait to grow up. Yeah. Melania.
Oh my God.
No one thinks Gia's doing coke in the bathroom anyway. She's got her head on her. And
But again, who knows? And it's fine if she, like, I truly don't give a fuck. It just,
Neither
I
do
think
I.
it looked bad on Jackie.
It did.
The same way the thing about Evan made Teresa look bad. But also, I don't think Evan is this hot. Everyone's talking about him like
I
he's
do.
fucking Brad Pitt. As Shania Twain would say, that don't impress me much.
I like him.
In the Jersey Husbands, I think he's pretty cute. He's
Right,
pretty
you guys all think this. I'm okay.
He's
I'm Megan.
cute. Even Teresa's like, I do.
He's
him.
my type.
He's my type.
Yeah, Teresa's like, what the fuck? I fuck him.
I'm
basically.
thinking of, like, he's not Juan Dixon,
Oh,
but I
Juan
think that's my
Dixon.
house husband. You know, I also loved Peter Thomas. I got why Cynthia was into. I found Mr. Ben as Nene Golden once. I thought him cute.
You just something about him you liked.
I thought like there was something really smooth about it. Maybe it's like could be con artist smooth, but I thought it was smooth.
You're right. He had something. He had something.
Oh.
Mhm.
I mean, I would never be attracted to him, but I'm trying to struggle to see what you saw.
Yeah, but Juan
Juan Dixon.
Juan
Easy.
Dixon is a cut above. Come on. He's
But when
just-
Gia talked to her mom, basically a woman has accused her on national television for all intents and purposes of doing coke in a bathroom. And Gia was like, but mom, like you told, she knew her mom had done wrong. She didn't even need the whole story. She's like, I'm
knew.
sure you did it wrong. And you told everyone about her husband. She was just like getting back at you. You need to call and apologize.
wow.
Do you think Teresa also told Gia about Evan messing around at the
Yes.
gym?
She's like, well, I just think he messes around at the gym. Like he goes to the gym. And then the story changed. It was like, he pretends he's going to the gym, but he's really fucking other women. Did you notice that story?
And he's
changed?
doing stuff.
Yeah, he's doing stuff.
And Teresa's like, then her friend, whoever gave me this rumor shouldn't have told me. And then she's like, and you shouldn't have given me tequila. To Jennifer, it's like, this is Jennifer's fault?
I didn't tell anybody. I just told my friends, my family. Her friends are the problem who overheard me.
At his birthday party. I just told my friends. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Now, Marge, again, and I said this, like, I think I've said this before. I'm sorry if I'm saying it again, but Marge's new face and head transplant looks like she took kind of a smaller banana and put it in her mouth horizontally and stretched it.
I've gotten used to it really quickly.
Oh, you settled. It's settled for you.
It's not
Oh.
shocking to me. Like it's weird. Melissa's face is still shocking to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Tell me more.
Like it hasn't settled for me. Like I still kind of, and you know why? As her daughter gets older, you see Melissa's old face. So it's like, so you always have this reminder. And I liked Melissa's old face. I like her new face too. But
You don't think those two faces are it's like face off? They're not the same.
they're not the same. It was a really beautifully done slow evolution, but they're not the same. And I do think she brings Jennifer Lopez's picture to the plastic surgeon.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I think she wants her face.
Who do you think, just while we have you, has the best fashion in all the housewives?
As a cast,
No, as a human soul.
Soul.
oh, it's really hard to say this,
Mm-hmm.
but Kelly Dodd, I
What?
actually really
What?
I've spoken to so many friends about it, and she's a horrible human being, but she puts herself together so well. And don't listen to what comes out of her mouth, but she puts herself together so well. It's not over. It's really relatable, but chic. Kelly Dodd knows what she likes and goes pretty classic with it. And if she wears a sweater, like maybe it'll have like an embroidery or something like that, but she keeps it pretty chic. Her jeans always look great on her. And then like you'll say Dorit, but Dorit's bringing like fashion, while Kelly Dodd is just looks like timeless, easy, not like on a show.
Wow.
My mouth has been agape this entire
Mine has
time.
too. And I want to just secure your reputation, Nneya, and just say that you are absolutely gorgeous with amazing style. And I want everyone to go to your Instagram and see what you're up to, because to give you a little more credence, because I'm actually hearing you're saying, I think that Kelly is so terrible. It's like I can't even get at her clothes.
She's really put together, and it's like, wow, she looks really like so many outfits. Like I was like, oh, I wish I had that. I would wear that.
Really?
But she's just such a horrible person, or she says the most ridiculous things that you're like, like Kelly Dodd's the only housewife that if she's wearing a hat, like I'm not super bothered by it.
Like Teddy Joe, when Teddy Joe Mellencamp's wearing a hat.
Or Kyle.
Kyle can't wear a hat. Anytime Kyle wears a hat, all you see is hat.
Giselle wears a lot of hats, which is hard to see.
Giselle's rough.
I don't mind the hat on her. I mind the clothes and the house fashion.
Exactly.
The hat, she's so gorgeous. Sometimes a hat like works for, you know what I mean? Like it's just
she's
like,
so beautiful. I think she's the opposite of Kelly in that we forgive her fashions because we like so much of what she's saying. She's the opposite. So I would say, yeah, for me, it's controversial, but it's Kelly Dodd. And I also like her surgery face.
Wow, Nneya. You know, I so appreciate you sticking with your guns here, and I'm going to look at her.
It's hard to
mute.
admit.
Maybe I need to mute her or take like a screen grab and just give it a look with her face cut off. Although you like her face too, so I'll keep it.
I like her plastic surgery face, and it's just such a shame because I think she's a beautiful person, just aesthetically. But she's such a problem. She's such a problem. So it makes it so sad for me.
I like that you seem really broken up. I like that you're distinguishing. You're not saying like, I think she's got a beautiful face. You're saying her plastic surgery face. Because there are two faces.
You can go either way.
I liked Elizabeth's old face when they did flashbacks of her. I thought she had a beautiful old face.
Now, Elizabeth, is she on OC?
Vargas.
Oh, I didn't see her.
She did. On her Instagram, she posted, because I like to go creep what they're up to. She posted her alcohol brand a little bit too early before you even knew she was on the show. But she posted some old photos, and I was like, oh, she's a pretty woman. So yeah, it's hard. And in Jersey, as I said, I do like Melissa's new face, but I also liked her old. It was something.
Yeah, you like both Melissas.
I like both Melissas. To this week's Melissa looks so much like her sister, though.
Yes, I agree. She looks a lot like her sister.
With her hair color.
I mean, I'm Dolores through and through.
Oh, Dolores is gorgeous.
Sometimes I just take pictures of her I take a screenshot because I just think she's so beautiful.
Just to look at her.
I can't stop looking at her body, her face, everything. I do have to pop off because I'm on a lunch break. So I will have to get it. But I wanted to say that I loved it on Jersey, just back to Jersey real quick, is that they brought up Joe's sex toy business, and we got an update on Joe's sex toy business.
Oh, we got an update on his sex toy business, Danielle. We'll say goodbye to you, Danielle. And I want to just close out with our beautiful guest. You know, despite your interesting opinions about Kelly, I'm gonna take your word for it, and I'm gonna give it another look.
Try to just look at her. Just try to mute her and just look at her. Just look at her.
Just look at her. Okay, I will.
But really quickly, don't give her that much engagement. Just really quick.
Right. It's just a quick glance and then I'm moving on. You know, I know Danielle had to go, but while you're here, I'm realizing we didn't even really touch on Salt Lake this week, even though there hasn't been a new one because we were off last week. Let's get into a few things because you've got a controversial opinion right off the bat. I think we all need to hear. Brace yourselves emotionally.
I don't like Heather. And it happened. Reunion for me. I was a big Heather stan.
Mm.
But, and maybe I won't say I don't like Heather, but I like to like go on extremes.
Right. No, and that's what we need here on this
I like to go on extremes. So
did you feel, because I felt a hint that she got a little too big for her britches with the Rihanna of it all.
These two past episodes, I was like, she's so hurt by Jen that I feel like she's going to burn the whole house down kind of attitude, that she doesn't want Lisa to be friends with Jen. She wants to throw daggers at Lisa's relationship with Meredith. And then when she was putting on her makeup and like just trashing Lisa, it was so chilling to me that we saw this kind of nasty side to her, that like playing the victim of it all, like so victimized by Lisa saying, I don't really know you. Like she's pretty much saying, you were an acquaintance, not a close friend. And that's okay.
But that's so triggering to Heather. It's almost like she did take it too far.
It's so triggering to her. And I feel like she's trying to mobilize her legions of fans to destroy Lisa.
But you're getting off the bus.
So I just feel like she's feeling herself, and I wanted her to feel herself. That's the thing. Like, I'm like, go you deserve this. You deserve.
But don't go too far, it seems. Feel yourself, but not too much.
It was very Icarus. She's flying a little too close to this, and the sun is Rihanna here. The sun is Rihanna.
The sun is Rihanna. It's like she did peak there. You're right. I wonder if there'll be a backlash. And I felt it, but honestly, I didn't have the courage to say it. I would never go so far as say I don't like her. I love her, and she's been my favorite for a long time. And I find her to be a very feeling, genuine person. I think if you met her, you'd be like, oh, I love this person.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It was a little much.
I was loving her. And these last two episodes, I was like, ugh, I don't like you right now. And and I think her personality is also very triggering to me when people play the victim. I hate when someone plays the victim, and I'm that friend that's all like, that's hurt, but like is very much more aggressive with it. So I find her, I really don't like her, the victim stance that she's taken. But we'll see.
Look, I hear you. And I'm going to say something controversial, which is that I'd like to call that Meredith never come back on the show.
Is that controversial? What is she
Maybe it's not. What is she giving us? And then I saw a preview for part 3 where she goes, why would I talk about my marriage in front of these women if no one, why would I do that, Andy? And I'm like, because you're on a fucking reality show and I'm taking time away from my kids. Just kidding. I'd be watching something else. But I'm here giving you my time, and you're not entertaining me. If you're not willing to I just think she's too tight, like
too uptight. She's not giving anything. And I've heard that that's why Brooke stepped in, because he knew his mother wouldn't give anything.
He knew she didn't have it in her, but that also fell very flat.
Very quickly. But
whereas Lisa's giving me something.
And I didn't love Lisa at the beginning. And then the reunion, I'm sorry, it's like switching. My Heather and Lisa feelings are switching, because I'm like, Lisa's standing up.
I felt like they were like attacking Lisa a little. I was like, where's this coming from? And I felt like Meredith fucking left Lisa out to dry.
Yes. Absolutely.
Lisa was like, tell them I'm a nice person.
I'm a great
and
friend.
Was just quiet.
I'm disengaging. And I think it was that scene with Heather putting on her makeup and Lisa running to Meredith, the scene that was supposed just an extra. And the fact that Meredith didn't help and Heather kept going at Lisa, when to me it would have been like, no, Meredith is the bad friend here. And it was just, I really wasn't feeling it. And I think Whitney put a battery in her back. I think that Heather and Jen are stronger together. And I think she gives Jen the reality check that Jen really needs. So I wish she wasn't like just throwing all of her energy in this stupid feud with Lisa.
I totally get you. And to Meredith, I say, like, you want to disengage, I disengage from you. And I think you should be disengaged from this show.
But Mary, please bring all of Mary back and more of Mary.
Mary and more, please. And look, were her comments, upsetting. Some of them in this part 2, very upsetting. She touched on some racial things that were, insane. But also, I don't know. What was your take on that?
I was as a Black woman, I wasn't upset by Mary because, you know, there are people like that. And then when she said her husband was white, I think it's like her madness is on the table. So you can't take it to heart. So it become, and even Jen was
Or did you
really
think it was like
calm.
colorism?
I think that with I think there is a little bit of self-hatred in terms of Mary. I don't even know if it's as nuanced as colorism. When Lisa said, "Oh, he's light," that's what you were trying to say. I wondered about that. I don't think Mary is as nuanced to go with colorism. I think that I'm because she was darker skinned before. So there's all these allegations that she might be using skin lighteners. She is just so not all there. And sometimes that kind of worries me because we're watching someone really, really vulnerable that doesn't really see themselves. That really worries me because I'm like, is it unethical to watch someone like Mary?
Absolutely. Like she's, I think, I don't know if she's on medications or something's happening that is like, she's both like falling apart in front of her eyes, but then it did make me laugh when she like came back so hard at Andy. So then sometimes she's like right on the beat. And then other times you're like, this is such a train. It's like hard to watch.
It's hard to watch, but I want so much more. I want so much more. And then Lisa mentioning the church, I think that also got me pro Lisa. She was the only one that's brought it up. and I thought it was a little bit too glossed over. So I hope we get into more of it.
Well, in every single like thing Mary said, it was like the exact opposite of what she'd said on the show. She was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. I did not mean that my grandmother set me up with my grandfather." Like everything was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And then she's like, "My husband and I haven't had sex in how many years, but he's a great love." And it did make me sad when she cried and she said, "My husband buys me Chanel." I felt with her something about these things and this stuff. It's so meaningful to her. And I don't know if it's that she grew up not having the money for these things, but it stands in for something. And I actually don't like make fun of her for that. I think there's something so wounded that these things are standing in for love for her.
I think it's because she mentioned her grandmother would take her to whatever the department store was. So I think it seems like a dynamic in the family that it's material goods means how much I love you. And so it seemed very genuine when she was crying about him, but it was also really sad. It's just
really sad.
It's like remember the episode when she was crying and said she didn't want to marry him and she kind of broke down. I was like, oh, this is a little bit going too far. This is like a little bit too Ayanla fix my life.
Like, oh, right. Almost like human trafficking. I'm like, what are we watching?
Yeah.
There's like emotional abuses. It's all so weird, but I will say at the end of the day, and then who knows about the fucking human rights violations going on in her church? Who knows? But I remain captivated and I'd like to get her out of the closet and onto the streets with our cast members.
I think it's going to happen this season because she was not filming as a friend of or whatever craziness that they thought she would be before.
They used every fucking scrap of footage they had on. They had like, again, they used their Nest cams. Like they were like, Mary, give us what you got and we'll throw it on the show.
And with Mary, we're not going to get like random friends. Someone always has a random friend. Like in Jersey, Val or Vicky.
Who is this random, what's her accent woman?
That accent. Is it Irish with Jersey? A little bit of Jersey.
Is it Australian with Jersey? Is she Marge's assistant?
Creative director, I saw the Carry On say, but that's just recent.
Creative director.
I thought she was assistant before.
Because she's not bringing us anything in the same way on Dallas, that other girl, the redhead, although I think she stepped aside because she didn't want like allegations of her family coming out. But it's like, she's not bringing me anything. Brandy Redmond has announced this week she is going to go with God and that the Lord Jesus will take care of her from now on and not be on the Housewives.
I think that's okay because she's not, but I wonder what's Stephanie's longevity without Brandy. They were equal.
Stephanie's going to go the long haul.
I like
Carrie go. Love to see Carrie get the fuck out.
She infuriates me, but she is I think her and Deanne, I'm really loving their petty squabbling. I disagree with Carrie completely. Like kind of like a Kenya. I'm loving that the squabbling that she brings. And it's at least it's lighter now. It's not like racism. It's about nagging and things like that.
And like who didn't put their cosmetics in the trunk on the way to the show to sell their wares.
It's a big deal about something about nothing. And I like that. I like that. And I like it for Deandra.
Right. I'm like, if someone can make Deandra seem like footloose and fancy free and fun, then I like it. Because I hate her too.
Me too,
but I do like that she's always wearing bike shorts on the trips. A long bike short. She's like, I'm ready. All right. I could continue talking forever. I will let you go. Thank you for this. Tell us, you've been so wonderful in this. Like, thank you for jumping in this week when we just felt like we needed to give Atlanta its due and Bolo his due and Bolo's dong's due. And tell us where we can find you.
You can find me on Instagram with my name, Nneya. And Twitter, I really only tweet about reality TV.
And that's why you're here.
Occasionally politics and then some reality TV.
I love it. And you have such a beautiful Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
I live like it's very wish fulfillment, you know?
Thank you.
In a wonderful way.
When you guys talk about it being garbage TV, I'm like, no, I went to a dinner. You know that show Whiskey Tango, the movie Whiskey Tango Foxtrot?
Yeah.
I went to a dinner with the woman who wrote the book and what it was based on. And it was a big dinner with some great people, some people that worked for the government. And this woman was talking about how the Kardashians are such trash and who watches it and like doing so much with pop culture. I was like, well, that's why we have the president that we have, because there's just such a divide. And you think that whole idea of pop culture is not relevant, but it's what leads our country. And the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot woman interrupted to agree with me and said, like, that's a divide going on in America right now with people thinking that they're better than others for common interests and hobbies.
Look, and I want to stand corrected too, because obviously I consider myself, of both garbage, but also I'm tired of being an apologist.
No.
Like, especially when I saw, just to close us out in terms of Atlanta, I was saying to some friends, like, when I saw that episode, I was like, see, this is entertaining television, not your like sad ass movie, where you're trying to make me like get into just some like devastating, obscure story. Like, this is entertainment.
It's amazing.
And if you don't know that, I feel sad for you.
They're great people too. Some of them are.
Well, now you've gone to.
Some of them are. I was just really thinking about Portia.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was thinking like, what other women would have participated in that night? And it's like, I think Sonia would have been right fucking there.
Sonia,
maybe Leah, but to see that whole cast jump in like that, including Shamia, I wasn't sure if she would jump in.
I don't think we have enough about Shamia, though she was involved in that, like a huge fight between Candy and Portia. So she's like always been on the sideline.
Mm-hmm. She's in the wings, and literally and figuratively.
Wait a second. Where was Fallon?
Where was Fallon?
That's what happens when you bring your husband on a girl's trip.
Wait, where was she? Because I didn't even see her the rest of the trip.
I don't think
I could understand her not being at this night, but where was she last night?
The next morning. Yeah.
You think they were just like, no, we've got too much going on here?
I think husband Fallon didn't want her. I think he saw, because they were next door, I think he saw Bolo in the glass case from the window and said, you're not.
The life-size glass case that Bolo was in, of course.
And he could see it from his window. Imagine jogging on that beach. And you just see like a glowing glass case.
So good that they put him in a glass case. Like, he didn't just arrive and kind of do his thing like a normal stripper. They literally elevated him in a glass case.
He was glowing.
He stood before them and grinded up against that plastic window that they were knocking on and putting their hands up to. He was glowing.
He was glowing.
From the inside out. Wow.
God bless Bolo.
God bless Bolo. That is the main takeaway here. Thank you so much for being here. You were wonderful observations, and I'm so happy to meet you in person / on Zoom.
Thank you. It's been so great. I'm such a fan, so I'm so happy to be here.
we really needed this. And again, we will close out with a very special Valentine's Day message from Joe Giudice. See you later.
How are you? All right, Casey and I want to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. All right, I hear that you're attracted to me, but you're married. All right, and stay married. Okay, stay married. And I hear that you like to know a little about my line of vibrators. Well, anyway, I am no longer with that company because they weren't very honest with me every month, and we kind of like parted ways. But if you want the name, it's Zalo USA. But I think they're a little overpriced, and you could get the same type of vibrators elsewhere for a lot less, to be honest with you. And anyway, I want to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Okay, I want to wish you all the best. Okay, and you should have a little personal massager on the side, for times when you're in need. You know what I mean? And you should also have your husband help you use it. I mean, I am dating a Danielle right now, and I help her use it sometimes, and it's she likes it. You know what I mean? Amongst other things, but put a little spice in your life ain't gonna hurt anything. You know what I mean? A little spice in your life. You know what I mean? Anyway, listen, enjoy. Happy Valentine's Day, and let me give you a little view. It's a little crappy out today, but I'll give you a little view. All right, of this corrupt country here. I think every country's corrupt nowadays. Anyway, listen, enjoy. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a good one. All right, take care.